Hello, my name is Miss Iman. I am the founder and visionary behind Kind Academy, a homeschooling program in South Florida. And today I'm going to be talking to you about our newest program called Kind at Home. It's our homeschool program that's going to basically help families to have support that they need to homeschool, some guidance, and amazing curriculum options to help with their homeschool journey. So that's pretty much why we're here. I'm going to go ahead and show you our presentation, and let's get started. All right, so this is Kind at Home. That's my name. I'm Miss Iman, and that's my little Bitmoji. Ever since we went virtual, everybody has this cute little Bitmoji, so here's mine. And then we have about us. So Kind Academy started as a nature-based, child-centered homeschool program in 2016. So we've been doing this for about 4 years now, 5 years. Before that, I was actually a guidance counselor as well as a special education teacher and specialist in public schools. I helped to make sure that students were getting the individualized education that they so deserved. And once I realized that this was something that we could do in public school, I really wanted that same benefit for my own child. So I pulled him out and we started homeschooling him. And we started this program to kind of develop a community of like-minded learners as well. So that's kind of how we started. And we really also saw like a lot of gaps that students were having. A lot of their fine motor skills were missing when they walked into the classroom. A lot of times they gross motor skills, they weren't getting nearly enough outside time. They weren't spending enough time playing on playgrounds, grasping monkey bars, like all that stuff is very important for learning how to write. A lot of our students were falling out of their seats, and we figured out that it was because they weren't getting enough time to play. So we started working on a program that encompassed all of that as well. These are some of our pictures for some of our littles that were with us over the last few years, and just some of the amazing activities that we would do in a nature-based environment. As you can see, we have some fine motor skills going on there. Here we have, we worked with a micro school to help develop their program that was holistic as well, and just different modalities of learning. We have puzzles, we had books, we always had like Montessori-inspired activities going on in the classroom there as well. And of course, we have our little students being scientists and learning about bugs and nature. And that was just like such an awesome way for them to learn. And we've pretty much taken that curriculum that we use with our students and built it out so that it could be, so that you can do it at home with your own children. So the first and most important part of our program is creativity. So creativity is really the foundation of everything. And I know that's kind of interesting that I went with creativity before we went with the academics. And the reason that we do that is because we feel like if a student has the creativity skills, they can figure pretty much anything else out that they need to. So we start with creativity and we build from that. So our model, the most important part is creativity. So all of our programs have a sensory activities, process art activities, acting and role-playing opportunities, dramatic play activities, and fine motor activities that kind of go along with the child's learning. So that's incredibly important to us. And I think that that's like naturally what kids love. So they end up figuring out a way to kind of like learn from these activities that we embed across our curriculum. All right, now our curriculum. So now the academic stuff. So we do still believe in having a very strong academic foundation. And I know that's kind of, that's something that sometimes is hard for a lot of students to kind of like do. They may fight it. They may not want to do it too much. But I feel like the moment that we started homeschooling and kind of following our children's lead with our curriculum, they took off and they can do it pretty quickly and with kind of, they have this desire to kind of learn once we set it up this way. So what we've done is basically given you access to online learning tools. So instead of you having just one thing that you have to do every single day, you have access to about 6 different learning tools that are online that are usually personalized, or you can personalize them for your own students. And the students can literally go at their own pace. So it's not like Monday you have to do lesson 1, Tuesday you have to do lesson 2, because that's just not sometimes realistic. Some students that I had that really love what they're doing, they want to do 5 lessons in a day, and that's perfectly fine. They can go at their own pace. For some students, they might only be able to complete a half of a lesson, and that's perfectly fine too. But we found that by having them help us to set goals of how many they want to do, especially for the older children, they learn how to get through their content a lot easier. So I really like that for them. So like I said, we offer about 6 different learning tools, and we're going to be adding to that as much as we possibly can. And we also offer an extensive resource library that has like 15 different folders of all these different activities that I've pulled from all over, basically since we've been working on this for about 8 years now. I've basically read through most of the curriculums that are out there and improved them and pulled from them and basically used them to develop our own curriculum as well, and have been inspired by a lot of different curriculums. A lot of those guides and printables and things like that that I've created over the years are also in our resource library. So that's super important as well. Very Montessori based usually, very art based usually as well. We consider our curriculum to be incredibly flexible. That's like one of the most important parts, I think, of homeschooling, and something that most of our families find to be what they're looking for when it comes to homeschooling. We decided that you having a choice and voice in the matter of how you homeschool and having the flexibility of how you homeschool really makes homeschooling what it is. You can personalize it for your students and your families. And we also have different tools for different ages. So we do have like the 1 to 3 year olds. For the 1 to 3 year olds, you're not going to really want to spend that much time online. Of course, that's realistic. They just don't really care for sitting in front of a computer. So for that age group, our interactive story times are probably going to be the best choice, also along with maybe some educational apps that are included in our curriculums. And then for the 7 to 9 year olds, of course, you have access to other things that are a little bit more structured, where they can sit and do a little bit more work on the computer. But it's different for kind of every age band. And also, we offer a project-based learning model. So most of our curriculum has a project built into it, some sort of hands-on learning that's built into it. And that's really the way of homeschoolers as well. They usually like to extend the learning through interactive and hands-on type things. And I think that's really important. Most of our kids are kinesthetic or learn through doing hands-on things. So we try to incorporate that as much as we possibly can. So it's interdisciplinary in the sense that it connects themes with science activities, social studies, math, and language arts. So all across the curriculum. And I think even in Finland right now, they don't even have any subjects at all. I haven't gotten to that point yet, but we we believe in that. And especially after our math and our language arts is done, we usually do our project-based learning activity, where we either have like sensory play depending on the age of the child, or we have some sort of a manipulative that they can work with, or they have to build something that goes along with it, and they can again choose what activity they'd like to do. Again, we've also done learn physics with rubber band art, learn about solar power by creating solar ovens, things like that are just interesting for the children. We find that to be very interesting and very fun for most families. And we also have access to countless lesson plans with all of this information and activity guides with all this information. All right. So another big question that I've been getting are you going to provide lesson plans for Kind at Home? So lesson plans will be provided, especially for our Kind curriculum. There is an option to do every single day, have one activity a day with guidance on how to do that activity. Now, I don't want to scare away the families who are like, I can't get through an activity every day, because I realize that is the reality of homeschooling, especially if you have multiple children, especially if you have a lot of things going on. I have a lot of families that do get out and do want to do field trips as much as possible this year, because they have been in school for such a long time and they really want that opportunity to spend some time in their community. So the lesson plans will be provided with a daily breakdown of what should be done, and with basically models for 3 different families. So flexible families, semi-structured, and truly structured. Now, our super structured families are going to be the ones that kind of have that traditional school model. They want to go back to school next year. They had this time off and they want to make sure that their child is ready to go back. So for families like that, we have a more structured school at home type program that's broken down into very similar to the way that public school is broken down. I want to be here to support all types of families and all types of learners. If I can, I understand how to break it down for all those different kinds of learners. So of course, for our semi-structured, which is really more so where I fall into, I still do that math, I still do that reading, we still do that language arts, we still do that writing, but we also do it in a way that makes sense for our family. So we're super flexible. If we feel like skipping a day so we can take a field trip to Butterfly World, we don't feel like we're behind because of that. And then we have the flexible families who, what I usually suggest with them is I'll provide a lesson plan and you just check things off as you complete them. Don't feel like you're behind again, but if you don't want to complete something on a certain day, or you can't complete something for even 2 or 3 days, because that's the reality of the way things work sometimes, that's perfectly fine with our curriculum altogether. Lesson plans and pacing guides. So 40 weeks of our program is 40 weeks long. It's broken down into monthly modules of learning. So it will go from September until June, you will have access to this curriculum every single month. So each month you'll be subscribed or you'll pay tuition, and then with that tuition will come along with a new month of learning and a new month of lesson plans and a new month of the activity guides. All right, so these are kind of the age bands for our program. So we have the 1 to 3 year old, 4 to 6 year olds, and 6 to 9 year olds, kind of how it works. So I know you might see there might be some overlap in some of these ages. Somebody even just asked, hey, I have a 3-year-old that's kind of like reading on the 3rd grade level. And we've totally worked with students like that. And that makes sense. What I love about our program is that you have access to all of the online tools. So if your student is way ahead of one of the online tools, they can jump up and do one of the older kids' online tools and whatever they're interested in. And some kids, a lot of times, are really, really great at math, but at reading, they may be just on regular grade level. But for math, they're on 5th grade level. You have access to the 5th grade level math programs that we offer. So that really makes sense because students really develop usually a little bit differently. And here are some developmental traits of the different age groups and how our program integrates with them. So like the 1 to 5 years old, even the 1 to 8 years old, there's basically early learning domains that we follow. Florida follows them. Most states have different guidelines, but usually it includes like social skills. Social and emotional skill building is incredibly important. So that's a part of our curriculum. Physical and gross motor and fine motor skills are super important. Creativity skills. And our program basically encompasses all of that. We find all of that to be incredibly important and usually something that's really missing from public schools today as it is. So we really want to fill that gap and help you guys get there. 4 to 6 years old, their socialization becomes super important. They begin showing interest in very specific themes. It's usually like around the time 3, 4 years old, you get I really, 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 really love dinosaurs and everything has to be with dinosaurs or everything has to be about space. So we use a lot of that to kind of create our curriculum as well. Like what is your child interested in? So most of our curriculum is very high interest topics that children have pretty much chosen, or over the past 4 years we're developing it. What have the children really, really loved? And that's kind of how we created our curriculum. And then the preschool program. So I know a lot of kids are not in VPK this year. My son's actually not in VPK this year. And so we're making sure that they're prepared for kindergarten level, because I am a little bit more semi-structured. That's just the way that we do things. So I am trying to work through some of the content, and we have incorporated the pre-K4 learning standards of Florida into our curriculum, and we're continuing to update that and add that. And in our most recent guide, you'll see the different requirements that the state of Florida has put on different VPK levels, and we do it in such a fun way and such a natural way that it doesn't really feel like the same super structured learning. Like we want all of our activities to be basically like play-based and fun and at the child's pace. If a child starts showing that they're not interested in something, we usually will pull back and not do that. And then retry again in a month or so. All right, and then the 7 to 9 years old. So now we are becoming a little bit more serious. I have a 9-year-old, so I know it's very different than the 6-year-olds. They can focus a little bit more on academics. You can spend a little bit more time on academics. They still do like to play and have fun, though. So we still want to incorporate as much of that play as we can. So we do. Interdisciplinary studies become more important, and fine motor skills are more highly developed, and that's absolutely true. They usually can write a little bit easier. They usually can type a little bit easier at that age, so we start working on developing those skills even more. All right, so the online learning tools. So we give you access to an ever-growing toolbox to use with children ages 1 to 9. Most of these are research-backed or scientific or backed by science, or if they've been around for a very long time and a lot of schools have used them, or a lot of different homeschoolers supported them. We really have pulled from the best, and I know that there's like thousands of different learning tools out there, and we've basically scoured the internet and come up with all the different ones that are perfect for, that have shown and proven work great for families. All right, the community. So our community is, right now we have about 1,200 parents in our community. So it's super, 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 it's a great way for us to ask questions in our community and have that homeschooling support. It's a great way to share tips, ideas. We share pictures in there about like our wins, and our business owners share in there about their businesses that's going on. But it's a great way to basically to kind of socialize with people in an asynchronous way and for us to talk to each other and communicate still. Socialization, like I said. So this is another big part. So right now in our community, we do a weekly interactive story time, and that's included in your Kind Academy, in your monthly Kind curriculum. And that's really helpful because it gives the kids somebody else to kind of look at, and I try to keep them engaged, and they really, really love story time. And then we also will be adding for parents a monthly meetup. And right now we already have families that are signed up. For August 29th, we're going to have our first meetup on Saturday night at 7 o'clock. So that's kind of a way for the adults to get together and chat about things and struggles that they have, and for me to kind of teach how to homeschool. We did that how to homeschool training, and families were like, oh my gosh, this makes so much sense. But having that support every single month is really, really going to be helpful as well, because we're focused on building your portfolio, making sure your samples of work are working, make sure that your reading log is being done in the correct way. Make sure that when we get to the end of the year and you are ready to do your portfolio, that you're prepared and that it's ready. So that you don't come and say, oh man, I didn't do anything this past year. I didn't do my activity log. You have it all set up and ready to go. All right. And of course, our kits. So a lot of families love our kits. And I'm not going to get too much into it right now because we pretty much don't have much left. They really go very quickly once we put them out. But basically they go along with the theme that we're doing for each week. So for example, we will have like sensory bead play in there, and all of the kids love that kind of stuff. And so we'll put like sensory beads in a box. We'll put like rice or beans or whatever it is, and then it will follow a theme that goes with it. You'll have like craft activities to do with it, and everything is just kind of thought out for you along with the curriculum, so you don't ever have to worry about going to the store or picking up any items. It's just all in one place for you, and that's been very, very helpful even for me to just have something that I can grab and go. And some families just use it as a boredom buster, while other families use it as literally, this is what we're doing every single day, just like if they were in preschool or in early elementary school. And then that's pretty much it. You guys can see more about what we do at www.kindacademy.org/kindhome /kind/kind-home-event. So I hope that answered most of your questions, but you can always reach me on Facebook, Iman Cassels-Aline. Phone number is 754-204-8310. You can reach us on email, and I'll post all of this stuff along with this as well. So like I said, if you guys have any questions, I am totally, totally happy to help. And I'm so glad that you had fun watching this. Hope you guys have a wonderful day. Thanks. Bye.